So what is integumentary system? So integument we consider as an organ, and it is a alternative name for the skin. So integumentary system, it includes the skin and skin derivatives, that is hairs, nails, and various glands that are embedded in the skin. Okay, so integument, it is the largest system of the body, and the composition wise, when we are speaking, that is 16% of the total body weight, it is made up of the integumentary system. One second. Okay, just we will wait for another 1 minute. Still some students are joining. Okay, let's begin. So the integument, it is the largest system of the body. 16% of the body weight is of the integumentary system. Then area, surface area it covers, it is 1.5 to 2 meters square. Then integumentary system is basically made up of two parts, that is cutaneous membrane. So in cutaneous membrane it has two parts, that is epidermis, which is the outermost layer in the integumentary system, and this epidermis is made up of epithelial cells. Then below to the epidermis we find there is dermis, which is made up of connective tissue. Okay, and the second part of the integumentary system is that accessory structures which are associated with it. So first accessory structure is the hair, second one is the nails, and the third one is the exocrine gland. Okay, so the functions which are played by the integumentary system, they include, first function is that it protects the inner organs from the external threats. Okay, so it can act as a first line of defense against the bacteria and viruses. Also it can protect underlying structures from the harsh effects of the ultraviolet radiations. And also because some of the secretions secreted by some of the parts of the system can protect the skin from the getting dried. Okay, so dehydrate, it protects from the dehydration. Okay, the second important function that it plays, it vitamin D production. Okay, so this vitamin D, it is produced, as we know, it is produced from the sunlight, and it is produced in the skin. And this vitamin D we require for the absorption of calcium. Okay, so the third function it plays is that sensation. Okay, so it this skin acts as sensory organ because of the presence of various sensory receptor in it. Okay, so next is body temperature regulation. Okay, fourth function it plays, it is involved in regulating the body temperature. So there are two conditions in which it plays the role, that is if there is the external environment is too hot. So in this condition, what happens, how it regulates the body temperature, is that first of all the dermal blood vessels, they dilate. Okay, so the vessels carry more blood to surface, so heat can escape. Okay, so if there is too much of a heat inside, then what happens, the blood flows from inside of the body to the surface of the skin. Okay, so as blood flows from inside of the body to the surface of the skin via blood, the heat also gets transported from inside to outside. And when the blood reaches at the surface of the skin, the heat whatever is carried by the blood is then dissipated. Okay, so if the inside is too cold, then what happens? Exactly opposite. So in this case, in case of uh, inside more hot condition present, then the dermal blood vessels they dilate. If it is too cold inside, then dermal blood vessels constrict. So exactly opposite will happen. So in this condition, the blood flow will from inside to outside, that is on surface of skin. Okay, so in this condition, if inside is too cold, exactly opposite, that is the blood flow will be inwards, that is from outside, that is from the surface of skin to the inward to inside the body. So it prevents heat from escaping, so it doesn't allow heat to escape from the body. So in case of too cold condition, it preserves the heat. Okay, so next function played by the skin is excretion. Okay, so small amounts of waste products are lost through perspiration. So when we are saying perspiration, we are basically talking about sweating. Okay, so sweating is means of excreting the metabolites or the waste product out of the body. Okay, so let's study the structure of skin. So structurally the skin is made up of mainly the two layers, that is epidermis and the dermis, and the third layer we actually don't count it as the part of the skin, but we have to learn what is it. Okay, so it is called as hypodermis, or also it is known as subcutaneous layer. Okay, so this epidermis, it is made up of epithelial tissue, and the dermis, it is made up of dense connective tissue proper, which is irregular. So irregular dense connective tissue. Okay, so hypodermis, it is also known as subcutaneous tissue or subcutaneous layer. It is made up of loose connective tissue. We have already studied the types of various connective tissue, and also we may find adipose tissue. Okay, below to the hypodermis, you will find fascia. Okay, what is a fascia? Fascia is one second, outer layer of muscle. Okay, so structure is shown over here. So epidermis you can find, this is the uppermost layer or the superficial layer that faces to the exterior. So epidermis is this layer, that is the outermost layer. Below to the epidermis there is dermis, so which is made up of connective tissue, and also you can see, as it is a connective tissue, you can see blood vessels in it. In epidermis, as it is made up of epithelial tissue, there are no blood vessels in this epithelial tissue, that is it is avascular, and the dermis is vascular. So whatever nutrition is required by the cells of this epidermis is supplied by the blood vessels which are there in the dermis. Okay, the next is below to the dermis there is hypodermis. Hypo means it is below to that of the dermis. Okay, or subcutaneous, sub or hypo, they mean the same, that is below. Okay, so we consider this epidermis and dermis as the cutaneous layer. Okay, one second. So let's begin with the structure of the epidermis. Epidermis is, as it is made up of epithelium, as it is made up of epithelium, that's why it is avascular. Okay, so what type of cells you will find? The outermost cells, they will be squamous. The shape is squamous. Okay, and when we have said that it is stratified squamous, at the base it will be cuboidal or columnar cells, and as we move uh, in the upward layers of it, so suppose there are 40-50 layers of the cell, then uh, at the base 4 to 5 layers they will be of cuboidal or columnar cells, and at the surface you will find the shape of the cells which is squamous in it. Okay, so the nutrients and oxygen diffuse from the capillaries in the dermis. Okay, so whatever blood capillaries are there in the dermis, they will supply the nutrition and the oxygen to the cells of the epidermis. Okay, so the cells of the epidermis, the majority of the cells, they are of type that is keratinocytes. Why they are called as keratinocyte? Because they contain a fibrous protein that is called as keratin. Okay, so majority of their cytoplasm, it is filled with the protein that is keratin. That's why they are called as keratinocytes. So as the description says, they contain large amounts of protein keratin. Okay, so they are the most abundant cells in the epidermis. Most abundant means what? The number of keratinocytes is maximum, or it many cells of type keratinocyte, they are present in the epidermis. Okay, so structural relationship between interface between epidermis and underlying dermis. So the proportions of the various layers differ with the location sampled. Okay, so this is the epidermal ridge, this is epidermis, so these are epidermal papilla, and this is dermis. One second. So there are, basically when we are talking about depending on friction which is present, the skin can be of two types, that is thin skin and the thick skin. Okay, so at the palms and at the soles where the friction is more, the type of skin is thick skin. So soles of feet and palms of hand, you will find the thick skin. And why thick skin is present? Because of friction is more. Okay, so most of the skin which we have, it is thin skin, and it covers most of the body. So it has four layers of the keratinocyte. That means the epidermal layers, they are four in number in case of thin skin, and in case of thick skin it has five layers. Okay, so palms of the hand and the soles of the feet, as they are subjected to the friction more as compared to the other parts of the skin, they have five layers of the keratinocytes. Okay, so that is five layers of the epidermis. Okay, so structure of the epidermis. So as we have said that layers of skin are present. Okay, in epidermis there are layers. So layers, alternatively there is a name to layers, that is stratum. Stratum is singular and strata, it is plural. Okay, So there are five strata of keratinocyte in thick skin. So which are those five strata? That is basal, spinosum, granulosum, lucidum, and corneum. So it is, as the name suggests, it is basal, so it is at the base. Okay, so if we consider, this is dermis layer. So if we consider, there are five layers: one, two, three, four, five. So it will be basal. The strata which is closer to dermis, it is stratum basal. Then above to the basal, it is spinosum. Above to the spinosum, it is granulosum. Okay, above to the granulosum, it is lucidum. Okay, and above to the lucidum, it is corneum. Okay, so in case of thick skin, you will find all of these five layers, but in case of thin skin, this layer, that is lucidum, is not present, and the corneum, it is also thin. Okay, there are fewer layers in the corneum in thin skin as compared to that of the thick skin. Okay, there are more layers in corneum than thin skin in thick skin. Okay, so this is the transfer section of the skin. If you can see, it is mentioned, it is the outermost surface. Then this is all the stratum corneum. Then below to the stratum corneum, you will find stratum lucidum. Then below to it, it is granulosum. Below to it is spinosum. So why called as a spinosum? When we take a ts of it, it looks like spiny structure, spine like the cells with the spine like structure, like this you can see the spines. So this spine like structure is observed in the cells of this stratum, that's why the it is called as spinosome. And as this is present at the base of the epidermis, that's why it is called as basal. Okay, the shape of the cells in the basal, it is cuboidal to columnar. And all of these layers, they are based on the basement membrane. And basement membrane, below to the basement membrane, or the basement membrane is the boundary between the epidermis and the dermis. Okay, so let's see one by one a description of it. That is, what is basal? So it is attached to basement membrane by hemidesmosome. So we have already studied about cell junction. Okay, so it forms strong bond between epidermis and dermis. So it actually plays a function of holding the layers together, that is epidermis to the dermis. Okay, so it forms the epidermal ridges, so like a fingerprint projections. Okay, so that is fingerprints. So dermal papillae, that is tiny mounds, it increase the area of the basement membrane. So when we say papillae, it is like this structure. Okay, so when we have already seen this, if it is like this, then the surface area which is available to make contact is less. But when it happens like this, the surface area is greater. So this structure is called as papillae. Whenever this structure like this will come, it will be described as the papillae. Okay, so these dermal papillae, which are also known as the tiny mounds, they increase the area of the basement membrane. They strengthen attachment between epidermis and the dermis. So function of the dermal papillae is to strengthen the attachment between epidermis and the dermis. So it has many basal cells or the germinative cells. Okay, So when we say germinative cells, that's why this stratum basal, it is also known as uh, germinativum. Okay, so germinativum means what? You know what is germination. So they actually capable of undergoing mitosis, and they can act as the stem cells. Okay, so you know the stem cells, they give rise to the other cells. Okay, so they have capability to undergo mitosis, as they are nutrition wise, they are getting the maximum share of the nutrition from the dermis. So they can actively undergo the mitosis process and give rise to the daughter cells. Okay, so epidermal ridges, so they form the these particular fingerprints. Okay, so this is thick skin, so pores of the sweat duct and the epidermal ridges. So this part is nothing but the epidermal ridges. Okay, so next layer above to the stratum basal is the stratum spinosum. So spinosum, why it is called as spinosum? Because the cells, they appear to be spiny in nature. Okay, spines like structure are there. So it is produced by division of the stratum basal. Okay, so understand this very clearly, that all of the layers which are there in the epidermis are given or they are produced by the cells of the stratum basal. Okay, so how many layers? That is 8 to 10 layers of the keratinocytes bound by the desmosomes. Okay, so desmosomes, they are between the adjacent cells. Okay, so the cells shrink until cytoskeleton stick out. Stick out means what? The cell shrink means what? The plasma membrane of the cell, it shrinks because of the loss of the organelles. Please understand one thing very clearly, that as we move forward or move away from the dermis, the amount of nutrition or oxygen supply gets decreased, and as the nutrition gets decreased, the cell tries to uh, throw away or get rid of the organelles which consume the energy or which consume the nutrition. So as they get rid of these all organelles, they tend to shrink in the size and the shape. They also change in shape, and as they change in shape, so whatever cells are there in the stratum basal, they have the shape of the cuboidal or the columnar nature, but the cells in the upper layers, they will have the somewhat flattened shape. And why they achieve or why they get this flattened shape? The reason is they lose all the organelles which are there in them. That is from mitochondria to the, at some point they also lose the nucleus, and as they lose the nucleus, they lose the capacity to undergo mitosis. Okay, so that's why the cells in upper layer, cannot go undergo they cannot undergo mitosis, and the cells which are in the layer, that is stratum basal, they have the capacity to undergo mitosis because they have the nucleus. Okay, so the cells in the stratum spinosus, they continue to divide. Why? Because they have still retained the nucleus. Okay, so increasing the thickness of the epithelium. So they contain dendritic cells, which are also known as Langerhans cells, which play an active role in the immune response. Okay, immune response or immunity, it is, they are the part of the first line defense. Okay, that means these cells, they protect us or inside organs from the attack of the bacteria or viruses which try to get into the skin inside the body. Okay, so next, third layer from dermis to surface, that is stratum granulosum. So why it is called as granulosum? Every name has meaning, okay, depending on the structure or depending on the characteristic feature of the cells that constitute these stratas. The name of stratas, they are like so, as the cells which are there in this stratum, as they contain grainy like structure, that's why it is a grainy layer, and it stops dividing as it loses the nucleus. Okay, so it starts producing instead the keratin. Okay, so what is keratin? It is tough fibrous protein, so makes up hairs and the nails. So also this keratin, it is a fiber like structure. Okay, so to hold this fiber like structure, we have one particular thing, that is keratohyaline. So it is like this. Okay, so this keratohyaline, it holds the keratin fibers in one structure. Okay, so these are the dense granule and they cross link the keratin fibers. Okay, so next layer, that is stratum lucidum. It is clear layer and it is found only in the thick skin. In thin skin, you won't find the stratum lucidum, and it covers the stratum granulosum. So what about stratum corneum? It is horn layer. Okay, so it is exposed skin of surface of the skin, it is made up of the stratum corneum. So how many layers? 15 to 30 layers of the keratinized cells. So it is water resistant due to presence of or due to secretion of certain granules which make it water resistant, and these granules, they are produced by the lamellar cells which are within the stratum corneum. Okay, so they shed and get replaced every 2 weeks. Okay, so this shading and replacement of the stratum corneum, it is happening unconsciously. Okay, so we won't exactly know that we are shading our skin and we are getting a new stratum corneum every 2 weeks. Okay, it is happening, it is normal physiological process. Okay, so the excess of when excess of the stratum corneum shedding, when it happens, and when it happens in the scalp, we call it as dandruff. Okay, so uh, below to the epidermis, you will find the layer, that is dermis, and dermis, it is made up of connective tissue, and when we say connective tissue, it is vascular in nature. Okay, so it is located between epidermis and the subcutaneous layer or the hypodermis. Okay, so it anchors the epidermal accessory structures, that is hairs, follicle hair follicles and the sweat glands. Okay, so without this dermis, these epidermal accessory structures, they won't stay in the place. So to stay this or to hold this in one place, that is hair follicles and the sweat glands, the dermis, that is connective tissue layer, plays very important role. So it has two components. So the outer component is the papillary layer, and the deeper component, that is the which one is closer to the subcutaneous layer, it is called as reticular layer, and this one is deep. So this papillary layer will be located in vicinity of the epidermis, and the reticular layer will be present at the boundary of the dermis and the hypodermis or subcutaneous layer. Okay, so let's see what is papillary layer. So papillary layer, one second. Okay, so papillary layer, it consists of areolar connective tissue. So it contains smaller capillaries Lymphatics, we have a separate chapter on this. There we will see what are these lymphatics, and I guess you also have studied this particular thing. Okay, so and also it contains sensory neurons. Okay, because of presence of these sensory neurons, one of the function of the skin is there, that is act as sensory organ. Sensory means what? Whatever sensation we have, that is sensation of pressure, touch, then heat. Okay, so all of these sensation are because of the sensory neurons which are present in the layer, that is dermis. Okay, so it has dermal papillae projecting between epidermal ridges. So we have already seen what is dermal papillae. So reticular layer, so it is the deep layer at the boundary of dermis to hypodermis. Okay, and this papillary layer, it is at the boundary of epidermis to dermis. Okay, so what is the reticular layer? It consists of dense irregular connective tissue. Okay, so it contains larger blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and nerve fibers. So you can see in both, that is reticular layer as well as papillary layer, the contents are same, that is blood vessels are there, lymphatic is there, and sensory neuron is there. But one thing that is different between the papillary layer and the reticular layer is that in this case we have smaller capillaries. Okay, so capillaries are the smallest blood vessels, and in case of the reticular layer, we have larger blood vessel. Larger, when we say larger blood vessel, we are talking about blood vessels with greater diameters. Okay, so these blood vessels, when they reach to the papillary layer, they branch out, and when they branch out, they give rise to the small diameter blood vessels, and these small diameter blood vessels are known as the capillaries. Okay, so the reticular layer, it contains collagen and the elastic fibers. Okay, also it contains the connective tissue proper. Okay, so one a disorder of the skin that we are going to see in short, that is dermatitis. So please understand this suffix. Remember this suffix, that is suffix is, sorry, suffix is itis. Okay, so when you find this suffix, that is itis, it means inflammation of. Okay, inflammation of. So inflammation of what? Derma. Okay, so derma, dermis. Okay, so an inflammation of dermis or papillary layer, which is a part of dermis only. Okay, so it is caused by infection, radiation, mechanical irritation, or chemicals. Okay, poison ivy is the name of one medicinal plant. Okay, which is poison ivy. So let's not go into those details what is that, and we will only have overview of it. Okay, so it is characterized by itch or pain. Okay, so itch, you know, आपण म्हणतो खाज सुटणे. Okay, so pain, whenever you will have a pain, so it is kind of indication of the inflammation. Okay, so characteristic of the dermatitis is strong due to the collagen fiber, elastic due to elastic fibers, and flexible. Okay, so this is the structure of dermis. So skin structure, hypodermis, we will just have overlook of it. So hypodermis, also called as subcutaneous layer, it lies below the integument. So hypodermis is not part of the skin. Please understand this. It is not part of the integumentary system. So what is function played by the hypodermis is that it stabilizes the skin. Also, it allows the separate movement. Why we need to study this hypodermis? Because whenever you will see parenteral applications in pharmaceutics subject, that time you will study about the subcutaneous layer. Okay, some of the injections, they are of type that is subcutaneous. Some injections are given in the subcutaneous layer. That's why we have to study this layer. Okay, so it is made up of elastic areolar and the adipose tissue. So it is connected to the reticular layer of the integument by the connective tissue fibers. So deposits of the subcutaneous fat, so distribution patterns determined by the hormones and reduced by cosmetic liposuction, which is also called as lipoplastic. So the fat content, whenever a plastic surgery is to be done in order to reduce the fat from the body, the fat is removed from the subcutaneous layer, not the integument part of any integumentary system. And this removal of fat, it is called as the one type of surgery. It is called as lipoplastic, and it is removed by the method that is liposuction. Okay, so this is the hypodermis, which is responsible for the storage of fat or accumulation of fat. So structure of hair. So hair follicles are the organs that form the hairs. So they are located deep in the dermis. So they produces non-living hairs. They are wrapped in dense connective tissue sheath. Base is surrounded by sensory nerves. Okay, so as sensory nerves, they supply this hair follicle. Although they are non-living, if you pull the hairs, you feel the pain because of the sensory nerves which are present at the base of the hair follicles. Okay, so the function they play, that is they prevent bacteria. Okay, so the accessory structures of the hair, they are, first one is the arrector pili muscle. So it is involuntary smooth muscle. Okay, so it causes hair to stand up, so produces goosebumps. So whenever we have the shivering response to the excess of cold outside, our hairs they stand up. And the why hairs stand up? It is because of the smooth muscle which is present at the uh, in the hair follicle. Okay, second accessory structure is sebaceous gland. Okay, sebaceous gland, it produces a oily liquid which is called as sebum, and this sebum is responsible for the lubrication of the hair. So next is regions of the hair. So it contains hair root and the hair shaft. So this one is the root and this one is the hair shaft. Okay, so hair shaft structure, it contains medulla, cortex and the cuticle. So medulla is the innermost part, outermost is the cortex, and this outermost is the cuticle. So this one below to the cuticle is the cortex, and below to the cortex it is medulla. Okay, so function of hair in case of head, it is UV protection, cushion from trauma, then insulation. In nostrils, ear canals and eyelashes, it prevents entry of the foreign material. Then body hairs, sensory detection, In root hair plexus, it places sensory nerves at the base of hair follicle that detects slight movement of the hair. That's why we feel how hair moves. Then arrector pili muscle, it is attached to every hair follicle and it contracts to stand hair from the skin surface. Okay. So structure of the nail is it contains a nail body, lunula, and okay. So the nail body is a visible portion of the nail and it covers the nail bed. So lunula is a pale crescent at the base of the nail. So this part is the lunula. Okay, and this is the body of the nail. Okay, so sides of nails they lie in lateral nail grooves and surrounded by lateral nail folds. So this is the structure and function of nail. Okay, so you can see how it is structured. So this one is lunula part and this one is nail body. Okay, so dermis, epidermis, you can see the structures associated. Okay, so there won't be question on the nails or as well as this integumentary system as such. So that's all for